This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
At Amica Insurance, we know it's more than just a car. It's the two-door coupe that was there for your first drive, the hatchback that took you cross-country and back, and the minivan that tackles the weekly carpool. For the cars you couldn't live without, trust Amica Auto Insurance. Amica. Empathy is our best policy.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Get ready for a night of non-stop laughter. No, I'm not talking about flop, sweat, and tears. I'm talking about Tom Segura's Come Together tour. It's taking over XL Energy Center on April 18th. Tickets are flying off the shelves. Don't miss out. Grab yours now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Max in for Teneby. Teneby taking some well-deserved time off. We decided he was exhausted. Much like Steph Curry, he's taking some time off as well. The legendary Mark Rosen now joins us here. And
good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. And I downloaded the PDF. I was up until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Poring over the recently released Warren Commission reports. I'm convinced more than ever now.
Here we go.
That was the Babuska lady.
I was waiting for that.
I'm more convinced than ever that it was the Babuska lady.
I'm glad you spent all those hours reading basically a combination of stuff that we've already seen.
How did you know, though, until you read it?
Well, you did. I mean, they just threw a bunch of stuff at your feet and go, here you go, and go for it. Some of it's redacted.
You didn't find any of it intriguing at all?
I haven't read that much of it. I've just read accounts of the people I trust kind of talking about it, and people I don't necessarily. I don't mind reading conspiracy theories. There's no smoking gun that anyone has reported that, okay, wow, I didn't know about this. Everyone's trying to connect the dots. Of course, we're talking about the JFK assassination.
We are?
Connect the dots.
I thought we were talking about JFK. I mean, RFK.
I don't think you were talking about Sirhan. No. There's conspiracy theories about that, too.
No.
I mean,
Sirhan is a rock band. They did a song called "Hungry Like a Wolf."
They did a great music
the assassin
video.
Duran.
You're right. I get confused. Yeah, I really do.
She was observed standing on the grass between Elm and Main Streets,
right,
standing amongst onlookers in front of the Dallas County building. She's visible in the Sabruder film, as well as in films of Orville Nix. Orville Nix, that's a very underrated
I know. Orville Nix was there. I know. I'm aware of that.
Marie Muchmore and Mark Bell. 44 minutes and 47 seconds into the Bell film. You've never been watch it. I've studied it frame by frame.
Frame by frame.
Even though the shooting had already taken place and most of her surrounding witnesses took cover, she can be seen still standing with the camera at her face. After the shooting, she crossed Elm Street and joined the crowd that went up to the grassy knoll. The Babuska lady is last seen in photographs walking east on Elm Street. Neither she nor the film she may have taken have ever been positively identified. Your thoughts?
I have none. Look, there's a zillion reasons why I think the CIA needed to be more forthcoming about whatever they knew about Oswald when he was in Mexico, when he was visiting the Soviet consulate, whatever. There's all these weird connections with this otherwise 24-year-old loner who was a very confused young man, to say the least, and very dangerous. But, I wanted desperately to see, and I know more, the whole generation, people who weren't obviously alive at that time. I'm of the age, I remember being in 5th grade and watching it on TV, the whole thing. And I made probably a dozen or more speeches about feeling like there was always a conspiracy. There were more than one gunman, that the magic bullet didn't exist, blah, 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 whatever. And that's fine. I don't try to convince people otherwise. When Jesse used to come down to WCCO TV, when he had his conspiracy shows.
A very wise young man.
He would bellow and look for me. Where are you, Rosen? I want to talk about it. And I'd get into it with him, and we'd talk, and I'd laugh, and I'd go, Jesse, you're the best. He loves, literally was doing a show about conspiracies. Everything's a conspiracy. But I think people have a thirst for, and understandably so. We want answers, even though it was 60-some years ago. And unfortunately, you're not going to get that definitive answer. I had people write me today. LBJ did it. The driver in the limo turned around and shot Kennedy.
Some people think the Dallas Police Department was behind everything.
Well, fill in the blanks. It doesn't matter. The one that still has the most logic is
the Babuska lady,
the 24-year-old loner who was up in the 6th floor depository with a.
Why did he claim to be a patsy then?
Because why do people who are on death row claim to be that they never committed the crime? He had the means, he had the motive, he had the opportunity. He worked at the school depository. He was up on the 6th floor. His fingerprints were all over the gun.
What about the magic bullet?
You can argue that. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but there's no. I always wanted to have God, I can't believe that, and I remember asking, Gerald Posner, who wrote Case Closed, probably the most definitive, book about.
I read it as well.
Yeah, but I asked him.
A lot of holes in it.
And having grown up in the news business, I always wondered why, that Abraham Zapruder was the only one who had kind of a clear Bell and Howell silent film. Where were the news crews that day in Dallas? The President of the United States is making this rare appearance.
Orville Nix was there.
Well, no, I'm saying, I asked him, though, where were the news crews?
Marie Muchmore was there.
Would you let me finish my sentence? They were all pretty much at the Trade Mart already. And
shopping?
That's where Kennedy was going to make a speech.
Trade Mart. I thought you meant like Kmart.
No. They were all there. They probably had X amount of crews, but it's just crazy unusual to think that they have this huge motorcade going through downtown at a very small, crawling pace, and that there wasn't like ABC, CBS, NBC. They didn't have one camera there.
Well, they didn't expect the Babushka lady and the Umbrella Man to shoot at the president.
No, it's not about shooting at him. It's an idea that you're doing a news story about the president visiting your city at a very hostile time. In that time in Texas. Where were the news crews that day? Not one was in Dealey Plaza. That's crazy to me. That following, literally having tape or film. No, they didn't have tape back then. Film of every single second of his visit. They had film of his car when it was making the turn on Elman. When you could see that at school, behind him, and then all of a sudden they must have just said, "Okay, we got to go. We got to get in our car and drive to the Trade Mart." Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We don't have that film.
What did Posner have to say when you asked him why there wasn't any film?
He said that was his answer, that he had asked people and that they were all
Is that part
assigned.
of the conspiracy?
No.
They didn't want any video. Maybe the television networks. Maybe it was Cronkite.
Well, Dan Rather was down there.
Maybe it was Rather. Maybe it was Rather, Cronkite. Maybe it was Huntley and Brinkley.
Might as well throw them into the mix.
Mm-hmm. I said think about it.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Huntley Brinkley.
Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe the networks were in the conspiracy. Well, yeah, why weren't they there? Why were the network cameras
I think that's
missing?
You're answering. That's why I asked Gerald, and he said they were all because they probably had. I still find that hard to believe. Not one was assigned to shoot the entire motorcade because they have video. When they arrive at Love Field, they have you have that famous film of them, and Jackie gets off the plane, and she's got the pink suit on, blah, 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 and they're going down the street, and you see the film of her. Zapruder didn't shoot that film. That was shot by a news crew. And then all of a sudden, they make the turn, no film. No other way to verify it. And that, and a lot of those films, that film potentially would have had sound to it, because you did have the ability to shoot with sound in 1963 on those bigger cameras. So, anyway. But I don't know. I don't think I'm again, I'm not trying to throw water on it. Cold water on it. I just don't think there's any, well, the CIA did it. Well, in what way? Did they hire Oswald? Was he a patsy? There was no other,
could be.
No other person there was no other witness. The grassy knoll, another shooter. No one with their own eyes saw anyone fire another gun. That is crazy to me. That with all the people there. I mean, the grassy knoll area I've been there a bunch of times. Well, they weren't shooting people away. You could have certainly, if I had noticed, if somebody had a rifle or something right behind me, I probably would have noticed that person. You can't just all of a sudden, you got to aim. You got to be there for more than a few seconds.
What if the gun was disguised as an umbrella, Mark?
Well, there you go. It's James. It sounds like it's a James Bond movie. The Babuska lady. You just like to say the Babuska lady.
You think that's what I like saying?
I know you like saying it. But anyway.
Have you ever seen a picture of the Babuska lady?
I think you showed me. I've looked. I saw there's the Umbrella Man. Then there's Woody Harrelson's father, who was supposedly, and then I thought, what's his name? Ted Cruz's dad. Didn't Trump say Ted Cruz's dad killed Kennedy? Remember that?
Yeah.
Did he kill them? Oh my God.
Her nickname arose from the U.S. Army headscarf she wore, which was similar to scarves worn by elderly Russian women.
Yeah.
Babushka literally means grandmother or old woman in Russian. The old woman, the Babushka.
The Babushka.
The Babushka lady. And you can go ahead and deny it, doubt it, not believe in it. But it's a limited amount of research I've done. Trust me, I get that. Yeah. But I still would finger the Babushka lady. It has at least having something to do with it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that we're still having this discussion, how many years later. And I don't think even the release of all these papers are going to, if anything, they're going to create more conspiracy theories about the CIA and the LBJ and fill in the blanks. And that's okay. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, 9/11 has a bunch of conspiracies. Everything that's ever happened huge in our country has conspiracies attached to it.
That tends to be.
Sometimes there's validity to it. More times than not, there's not. I mean, but it's okay. It's a good discussion to have. And it's not that I thought Oliver Stone did a marvelous job in the JFK movie. I mean, throwing a lot of things out there with the idea that Garrison was kind of a kook, but it was more like, well, don't trust everything our government says. I think that's the message he was getting across, which he's 100% correct about.
Right.
Whether it's wars we've got ourselves into, whatever it might be. Yeah, I 100%. When Costner looks when he has his closing arguments and. It's important. I mean, that message resonates with a lot of people, and I think that is important. But I got to keep both feet planted on the ground when you do it. That's all.
Hold on. I'm thinking maybe. It was George Babuska.
Well, they had a
George Babuska.
I get it. I saw one thing today where George Bush Sr. was apparently in
CIA
Ely Plaza. CIA. He was, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Was it really him? Was there a connection there? I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
good talk.
Head of the CIA was
Dulles.
Right.
Yep.
Bobby Kennedy, who was the Attorney General, had him fired.
Right.
They were getting rid of the CIA. J. Edgar Hoover put Dulles Dulles in charge of the Warren Commission right after Kennedy was shot.
Well, look, Bobby Kennedy had it out for the mob, and everybody thought there was that Sam Giancana, that Kennedy was sleeping with his girlfriend, and there's 1,000 different arrows pointing a lot of different ways.
And where was Marilyn Monroe on that fateful day?
She was dead.
Oh, was she dead then?
Yeah.
By then? Oh.
Yes. Unfortunately, she had passed.
How did she die?
Well, that's another conspiracy.
Was it a drug overdose, or was it the Babuska lady?
Somebody gave her a lethal dose.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
We'll break. We'll come back. We got plenty to get to here with the legendary Mark Rosen, along with Common and Max here on The Fan.
At Amica Insurance, we know it's more than just a car. It's the two-door coupe that was there for your first drive, the hatchback that took you cross-country and back, and the minivan that tackles the weekly carpool. For the cars you couldn't live without, trust Amica Auto Insurance. Amica. Empathy is our best policy.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
It's the final NCHC Frozen face-off at the XL Energy Center on March 21st and 22nd, and you could be there for it. Head over to our contest page and register for a chance to win a pair of tickets to both days. Yes, both days. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
Sorry about that. I was just reaching out to the Babuska lady. She was unavailable.
Any luck? No.
Well, I guess we can put the Aaron Rodgers to Minnesota story to bed. Tom Pelissero basically said today, not going to happen. How much work did Karn have to put into drawing up the contract just in case?
Zero.
Zero?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was, it made for good fodder for a while. But I mean, I just think that, again, we talked about yesterday, and I said, people try to make the comparison and draw the line between what happened in 2009 with Favre and Rodgers. To a certain extent, not everybody was, but I'm just saying.
I was.
In 2009, the Vikings had Sage Rosenfels and Tavares Jackson at training camp. And I remember being down at camp, and Brad Childress was asked about Brett Favre, who had not made a decision yet. This is the end of July, and Childress said, Brett Favre's in our rearview mirror. He's not here. I'm not talking about him. He's not part of our team. And then we're all looking around going, you mean to tell me you're going to go with, God bless Sage Rosenfels and Tavares Jackson? That's what you're going to go with this championship kind of type team you have? And of course, how that worked out. It's a much different situation, obviously, because when you move up in the draft to get a guy like J.J. McCarthy, and as it turns out, unfortunately, he missed last season, where he would not have started the season, but the way that Sam Darnold played, I don't think he may have ever gotten into the starting lineup. That's fine. Not every rookie has to start, but I think it's clear that the Vikings drafted him for one reason, and that's to be their franchise quarterback, first one they've had in years and years and years. So, if they wanted to keep someone, they could have kept Sam Darnold, as a backup or whatever the case may be, if they're going to turn the reins over to JJ, which has always been their intention this year. And the dance with Aaron Rodgers is, people go, why didn't the Vikings come out and say something? Well, they don't have to say anything. Everyone's talking, well, who's their backup going to be? Well, that'll work itself out. There's plenty of options. There's plenty of time to figure that out, whether it's Joe Flacco or Ryan Tannehill or whomever, they're going to find a veteran who can be another voice for him to hear in that quarterback room, along with Cade McDowell and obviously the KOC, Josh McCown. Did I say Cade? I could get those guys confused. But anyway, Rodgers will move on his merry way and look for it. Now, if something were to happen to JJ at training camp and Rodgers hasn't signed, is he going to wait that long? Possible. He's in no hurry. I don't think there's any urgency. Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers will call him up and say, look, we need an answer. Mike Tomlin's bunch might call him up and go, we don't want to wait any longer. We need to know if you're still thinking of coming here. It's a little different situation, and the Giants, likely will end up drafting a quarterback. They have a high enough pick they can get a rookie quarterback potentially to start this year. So, I think it's like I said. I'm more than ready to see what JJ has to offer, and as you'd like to say, let's play.
How do we know J.J. McCarthy isn't the next Tavares Jackson or Sage Rosen?
We have no idea.
You know what you're getting with Rodgers.
Well,
four-time MVP, first ballot Hall of Famer.
And what have you done for us lately?
What has McCarthy done for us lately? Nothing.
You could say that about last year about Jaden Daniels. You could have said that about. Okay, at some point, and he's got a whole year. He had a whole year to have an opportunity to kind of learn and still study and still do things. Of course, you don't know what he's going to do. This team is ready to take that next step, and he's going to have his bumps and bruises. He's not going to figure everything out immediately.
Could be wasting a year.
We wasting a year with Aaron Rodgers. What has he done lately?
Well, you'd know that early on. You'd know that early on. You could just bench him at that point.
I just think that whole soap opera would be way too. Rodgers doesn't go quietly into the night, and that's one of those things. If
Eagles
are here.
Do you think it's a clash of egos? KOC, Coach of the Year.
No, we call it a clash of egos. I just think that it would be it
would be Aaron Rodgers' team. It wouldn't be KOC's.
It would be a delicate situation, and I just think the drama that Aaron provides by just his presence and the way he handles himself. I think he'd love to come here, and I think he'd be. There's no question you want to come here and you want to win now. Obviously, this is an opportunity that would be put on a silver platter for him to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson and hand the ball off to his old buddy Aaron Jones, and now the Mason kid. They got Hawkinson. They got a defense that's been revitalized. It's a great situation for him to walk into, better than he could get with the New York Giants or the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Vikings are ready to move on with JJ.
Let me ask you a hypothetical.
Sure.
What if the Vikings could have acquired Matt Stafford. Let's say he would have wanted to leave L.A. and they would have said, would you have wanted to go a year with Matt Stafford at quarterback before J.J. or not him?
No. I want J.J. to start the clock right now.
He's 22.
Yes, I know he is.
If he ends up being a good quarterback, he'll be here for 15 years. What's wrong with 14 years? Matt Stafford. All the pieces in place.
I just think that...
Well, you better be right about this J.J. McCarthy character.
Well, I better be right about him?
Well,
first of all, Matthew Stafford was not in the mix.
Well, there was rumors he was going to be traded.
If they were going to pay a quarterback $35 million a year, guess what? They probably wouldn't have been able to afford some of the free agents they just signed to improve their football team on both sides of the line. You can't have it all. And I said they couldn't fix everything this one season. They fixed on paper. They have fixed a lot more than I anticipated. I mean, they're going into the draft right now without having this glaring need to get an offensive lineman, a glaring need to get a defensive lineman. Why? Because they have a quarterback on a rookie deal. They're not paying Sam Darnold $35 million. They're not paying. So they have the money, and they still have the money to add more pieces. So no, I mean, I think at some point you just have to, you have to go with your instincts. Of course, there's no proven way of saying that J.J. McCarthy is going to be. I'm not putting him in Canton. I'm just saying that I think they can protect him enough and make him. And
I hope you're right.
Trusted. I hope they're right. Quasey's got to be right, and Kevin O'Connell's got to be right.
I'm
not making the decisions for him.
Yeah, but you're all on board.
Well, yes, I am more than having Aaron Rodgers here. Yes, I am on board with having him be the quarterback. That's why they drafted him last year.
What if we're 4-9 with McCarthy? You're still going to be talking about how you're so glad McCarthy's chucking that pigskin around the new Winter Park. Mark,
what if pigs can fly? I don't know. I mean, you're talking about stuff that throw it against the wall and see what it can be.
I'm just throwing out speculation.
Well, that's fine. Go right ahead.
That's what we do.
Knock yourself out.
We do a lot of speculation here.
You do. You do a lot of negativity.
No, it's called objectivity. I'm not going to ducky and bunny.
Well, there's always a possibility. Yes, of course. Well, then Ryan Tannehill will start. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you think Tannehill's the guy we're going to get?
I have no idea. I think that's someone like him who fits that, who doesn't have designs on being the starter, that will be here more of a, as the backup who's capable of stepping in, a Flacco, someone like that who can play.
Let's say they sign Tannehill.
Yeah.
Let's say we're in preseason. Let's just say, for argument's sake.
Right.
McCarthy looks like he's got some work to do. Do you start the season with him anyways, or do you give it to Ryan Tannehill? Because this is a team that's made to win, and they're made to win now.
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, he's not going to be playing in the preseason with.
Oh, I think you got it.
No. I'm saying with most of the starters, with Justin Jefferson.
Wouldn't that be a mistake?
No. I mean,
don't you have to get a timing and a rhythm with your.
That's what you get out of practice, and that's what you get when you have those controlled scrimmages, which I think that's the risk you take. I don't disagree with that premise. I think JJ has to play in the preseason. But I don't necessarily think you're going to see. How many times do you see starters go beyond a quarter in any of those preseason games? You don't.
I'd like to build a little
chemistry. And that's the difficult. Well, that's what you have to do in practice, unfortunately, because there's too much money and too much risk involved.
You're talking about practice?
Well, yeah.
All right. Just because that's the way it's been done lately doesn't mean you have to.
No, you don't have to do it that way. But I mean, has Justin Jefferson played a down in the preseason game?
No, I don't think he has.
I don't think that Aaron Jones is going to play. He's going to have to develop that chemistry.
Let's hope they can
have those controlled scrimmages when they have them.
Well, let's hope so.
We're out there at Winter Park, in the new Winter Park, and we'll be doing a broadcast out
Let's
there.
hope so, or the Wolves will be howling at KOC's door. Boy. Let's take a break and come back. One more segment to go with Mark Rosen, Common, and Max here at the Fan.
At Amica Insurance, we know it's more than just a car. It's the two-door coupe that was there for your first drive. The hatchback that took you cross-country and back. And the minivan that tackles the weekly carpool. For the cars you couldn't live without, trust Amica Auto Insurance. Amica. Empathy is our best policy.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
It's another wild Wednesday here on the Fan. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sounds like a heck of a
about
concert.
Jim
I might
being
wanna
the
show up with
official
some friends.
bourbon of the Minnesota Wild, and we've got your tickets for tonight's game. Be caller 13 to win a pair of tickets to tonight's showdown with the Seattle Kraken. Call 800-320-5326.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's the legendary Mark Rosen. Max is here, but he has to answer the phone. I think he's giving away tickets. Is that correct?
That is indeed true.
So he'll do
Good to see
that.
Max again, yeah.
We have some breaking news, Mark Rosen.
Well, the recipients for the Minnesota Broadcasters Hall of Fame, the year 2025, have been announced. So stand by, Common Man. See if your name is on there, Susan Lucci.
Let's go. Come on. It's about time.
Okay,
my
got it.
dog.
Sweaty palms. Oh, my. Here we go.
My dog. It's about time.
Yeah.
First of all, Dennis Carpenter from whatever Milestone Radio. I've never even heard of that, but congratulations to Dennis.
Dennis has done a great job over the years.
Yeah,
I know Dennis.
wonderful
He and I
job.
text and talk more than most people know.
My former coworker for many years at Channel 4, very intrepid reporter, went out to California after a long stint at WCCO, Carolyn Lowe.
Yes, I remember Carolyn Lowe.
Wonderful reporter.
I think she covered the Kennedy assassination.
She
for
did
Channel
not.
4.
I'm going to save the last one because it's the biggest name coming up.
I can't be the
Brett Paradis, Paradis.
Brett Perryman. He played for the Detroit Lions.
Leighton.
That would be the NFL Hall of
Have
Fame.
you heard of Leighton Media, Leightto?
Oh, sure. Everybody's heard of Leighton Media.
You have not.
No, I'm serious. They're all over the state.
There must be a couple. Al and Linda Kornstrom from Q Media Group.
Ma and Pa operation, great place.
Terry Train. Terry Train from KQRS.
Oh, yes. She was
her name with the Tom Bernard.
Tom Bernard sidekick for years. Very deserving.
And the final one, drum roll, please.
Come on. Let's go.
Who else could
It's
it be?
about time.
Oh man, I would like welcome this person with open arms to the Pavic Museum over here in St. Louis Park. The last recipient, Lou Nanny, Minnesota hockey broadcasting legend.
What?
Minnesota hockey broadcasting legend. Lou Nanny gets to the Pavic Museum before he helped his team win a Stanley Cup.
What?
I don't see. Maybe there's a.
Are you sure there's not another name
I'm
on the
looking.
list?
Kathy Wurzer tweeted this out. Kathy's very reliable. She's very on top of this stuff. Carpenter, Lowe, Nanny, Paradise, Kornstrom, Terry Train. There's your 2025 inductees.
The Babuska lady will get in before I do.
Well, there's still a wing left for you over there. I don't know what is taking so long. I'm
a
sorry.
black sheep. They don't like me. I've never been accepted anywhere. I know that the listeners know.
That's all that matters.
Let me just say this. Until I'm inducted,
right,
the Pavic has
no
validity no credibility or validity to it.
Wait a minute.
I've been working here for 32 years.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to take.
day after day, week after week, book after book.
Yeah, correct. Comedy show after comedy show.
Let me just say this. I know I shouldn't let it bother me.
Yeah.
But it's starting to bother me now.
It's starting to gnaw at you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are kind of the Susan Lucci of...
Max and Blakemore are going to get in before I do. And they're well-deserved. They're deserving. They're both deserving now.
You know what I would say to that comment? Someone's either lazy...
Stupid. Or both. I think they have it in for me. I know some of the people that are behind the scenes there don't like me for some reason.
I can't imagine that.
I called them out at the fair last year, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably was a mistake.
Again, they don't announce... It's like the Hall of Fame, the baseball Hall of Fame, where they have the votes that are tallied, and then people who missed out by, because it's mostly, I think, a discussion among the people who run the Pavic Museum.
And I only have one more year of eligibility remaining.
I didn't know that.
Was I even on 5% of the votes?
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't.
Couldn't you put a good word in for me?
You never asked me to write you a letter. I've written other people letters.
Has it worked?
A couple times. For RJ, it worked. I don't know if it worked. I mean, RJ should have been in long before he got in. And sadly, it was after he passed. But anyway, there you go.
Take a letter, Maria.
Yeah. Always next
address
year.
it to Pavic. To the Pavic.
I think they know. Your reputation speaks for itself. I don't think they need any letters. Letters.
Well, again, 32 years.
Yeah.
Town to town, up and down the dial.
Radio dinosaur.
Report cards are always good.
Yeah.
Generating
lots of income.
$1.8 million a year for the place or more. I don't know what else. And I've always seen when they have I've seen the nomination forms and stuff.
Right.
Do you generate a lot of revenue?
No.
Check.
Well, maybe.
Do you have longevity? Check. Do you have really good ratings? Check.
Maybe the corner office could put in a good word.
Maybe
the boss's help.
Here's what I think the problem is. I don't think Abbott puts enough into it.
Yeah.
I think Abbott laughs at it, and it's probably envying because he's not in either.
No.
So he doesn't care about any of us. He doesn't put the effort he should doing it. Mm-hmm. He should be filling out. He should be stumping for us, almost like he's on the campaign trail, but he doesn't. He dismisses it. He doesn't know how much it really means to some of us.
It meant a lot.
Yeah, well, look you teared up during your induction, did you not?
I did, yeah. Whole family was there. This is after listening to Mick Anselmo talk for a half hour. He had to go first.
Dog with an out in its mouth could sell those ratings. He said that.
He went to the bar. That was the last we saw of him for the rest of the night. It was one of the great stories of all time.
It's too bad his name wasn't Zanselmo, because then he would have been at the very end. But it was Anselmo, and he was the first one up. They did it in alphabetical order.
And I'm not making this up. They played the Academy Award music. He was going on so long. We were supposed to go 7 minutes or something. He was at 17 and counting when I looked at my watch.
Well, look, if Mick doesn't blow his own horn,
who's going to do it?
Who's going to blow his horn if he doesn't blow it?
Oh, well, there you go. Cam Robinson is signing with the Houston Texans. He played for us, right? Yeah.
How about if you don't sleep until you get me in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, that would be difficult.
A lot of restless nights. Be a lot of restless nights.
Yeah.
Cam Robinson signing where?
Signing with the Houston Texans. Former Viking.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to him. I hope he did well. He did. Listen, he started 17 games last season, and the Vikings picked him up in the wake of Darrisaw's injury, and deserves an opportunity to go elsewhere with hopefully the return of a healthy Darrisaw. And the Vikings picked up another insurance policy at tackle in case he can't go at the beginning of the season, but. He filled the role, did it well, and now he's going to have C.J. Stroud to protect.
Yeah. Good luck to that for C.J.
Well,
we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Vikings, I would think. Now they signed the wide out, right, and then they signed the running back. They signed a Kuda.
Yeah.
I'm not certain they're done, but my guess is there might not be a lot other than a backup quarterback, right? A veteran quarterback.
Sure. Yeah, that could take a little.
And that could take some time.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they're done, but they still have some money to spend if they so desire. But
So you think there might be more than just a quarterback? They might still pick up a couple of
I think
pieces?
they could
depth pieces.
Look at again.
You think depth pieces then, mostly than anything?
That's kind of where they're at. I don't think they have any glaring needs.
Right.
I mean, given the free agents they signed a year ago with Cashman, Van Ginkel, and what's his name? Am I blanking out on? The 3 linebackers.
Oh, Cashman, Greta Van Susteren. No. What's his name? Greta. What's our...
Oh, my God. Anyway, think of his name.
Van
Ginkel.
Van Ginkel.
No, I said Van Ginkel, Cashman, and he's all pro.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
All I can think about is the Babuska lady.
All you can think about is the Hall of Fame.
And not getting
snubbed again.
Let me, you keep talking and I'll Google Vikings.
Got programming predicament tonight. Both Wild and Wolves are home tonight. Wild play later game tonight. They're playing Seattle at, it's on national TV. That's why it's an 8:30
Dallas
start.
Turner, Ivan Pace, Jonathan Grenard. That's who we were thinking of.
Yeah. And the Wolves play the Pelicans at 7. So
yeah. The Pelicans, I believe, if I read the standing, unless I was looking at the standings upside down, the Pelicans are the second worst team in the West.
Yeah, they're 18-51.
You would think this would be. Is this a home game or are we there?
No, we're at home.
We're at home.
I'm gonna go.
You would think.
Yeah.
This is a game that we should win. If you remember our last loss when we lost to backups from Indiana at home.
Right.
DiVincenzo said they played harder than us. Hopefully we'll put a 100% effort in there.
I would hope so.
If we put 100% effort in the game, we should beat them 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, it should be over by halftime. But that, I hope they learned their lesson the other night. And, it's, you can't let this. They have a home. Actually, they play New Orleans twice. They play them again here Friday night. And, they should win both these games, obviously, by double digits. They need to. And then they go to Indiana to play probably a healthier, well-fortified Indiana team, at their place next Monday night. So we'll see how that goes.
Last night, San Antonio, Golden State won without Steph. He had he needed an emotional and mental break, apparently.
Watched the first half of that game.
Don't know what that's all about, but he was out. And despite being without Steph, they won the game. Buckets was pretty good last night. So it's still that. I think we're like a half game up on the Clips and a half game behind Golden State. So it does look like it's going to go down to the wire here. It looks like every game, because now Golden State, since they acquired Buckets, I think it's 13-2 or something. They've only lost, so they're winning. Clips are winning a little bit too, and it's going to be harder to get up much higher than 6. I think. I mean, it's possible.
Be the plateau.
It's possible, but it seems like Houston's winning. The teams above them, they seem to be winning. I don't know. Do we know when LeBron's coming back, Max? Have you heard? Do we have any idea?
No, I would imagine that. I mean, obviously he's hurt, but I would imagine they're just resting him up for the playoffs. I'm sure he'll be back right before the playoffs.
I don't know how much maneuverability the Lakers have right now. They play at home tonight against Denver. A team that I wouldn't mind seeing the Wolves play in the playoffs. I mean, you know what their record is against the Nuggets. They've played awfully well against them, and but it's going to be fun. I mean, the Western Conference playoffs are going to be when you're not going to have to worry about that word. They played harder than us.
No, I would hope.
I don't think that's going to be the issue. So it's all about matchups and adjustments and all that rest of that stuff. But it's going to be a drag out, affair. Even Oklahoma City, I don't think it's going to have any cakewalk in the postseason in the West.
NCAA tournament, I know they have those playing games, but the actual tournament first round begins tomorrow.
Correct.
And with as many brackets as you enter, you must have started filling out last night.
Number one,
right?
that's a joke.
It is?
I've won like once in I don't know how many years, and I haven't even
filling out that many brackets. You've only won once.
I haven't even filled out a bracket in probably 4 years.
Seriously?
No, because I don't. I just the
why is there this rumor then going around that you?
I don't
would
know.
Like
I never have done that. I've never. I don't have the time for
that's
that.
That's what tend to be said. Teneby was spreading rumor that you would fill out 15 because you'd come on Monday and go, well, I've only missed 2 on it.
Again, you guys just like to make stuff up. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I've never filled out more than 2 brackets probably for a
NCAA tournament?
NCAA tournament. No, I don't have. It just doesn't interest me that much. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's always fun in your office bracket, and I'm not suggesting don't do it. Of course, it's fun. You throw darts against it, and there's always. I think they did something like there's a line. No team from if you go from Minnesota all the way down to Texas, no team going west from that point has won an NCAA championship in the last I don't know how many years. A long time. So if you start looking at SEC football teams, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Auburn. Yeah, these are the teams to watch.
They're all in the.
They're all football schools paying lots of money to their players because they got the money.
And they got basketball now
Cannon
too.
used to say, they got basketball now, where it never used to be a big deal. Always would be football schools, but not anymore. Florida may win the championship. They're loaded.
Well, that's, most of the people that follow college basketball for a living, they're all, saying the best 2 teams, Florida, Duke. One of them will probably win. Then there's that, you read the stories where they go. There was one I looked at this morning. Might have been a CBSSports.com one, maybe ESPN, where it's like this top 11, maybe it was 16 teams that have a real opportunity to win. And of course, it's the names you'd expect. Look at them, they're all first number 1 ranked team in the country, number 2, number 4, number 6. They're all there. So and what I like though about the NCAA, and I think you probably agree, is that more than likely on the first weekend you're going to see a 2 fall or a couple of 3s. You will see teams that you go, this team's going to make a deep run, and they
5 against 12.
Yeah,
it's always
and that's always fun. That's what makes the tournament exciting. I think you like to see. Especially because on a lot of the, I don't know what percentage. You got 64 teams or 20 guys on a club, 15 on a club. Say it's 20. It might be 20. Let's just say 20.
15.
So you do 64 times 20. You add up all those numbers, and how many of those are going to play in the NBA? It's pretty small.
Well, that's the commercial they always do.
Well, and it's true because so then you've got kids that a lot of these guys, this is their only thing.
One shining moment.
Yeah, and so this is their opportunity. They're not going to play much more than they're not going to play after their college basketball career. So to me, that adds a little
and it gets
element
back to it gets back to, and I know you talked about it earlier. You'd have more interest if I saw some highlights the other day. I was watching the Gopher teams that have been there, but it's envy and jealousy when you look at Wisconsin in particular, and year after year after year, the stability of the Wisconsin Badgers. And, Michigan State speaks for itself. Izzo is always going to be there. But Wisconsin with, a lot of times a bunch of kids from Lakeville that end up leading that team to, potentially, a Sweet 16 or beyond. And they're a stable team that, organization that they have, and it goes beyond the coach. And that's the thing that the Gophers have to figure out. And good luck. Whether Medved's the new guy or whomever it is, they need a lot more than that, and need a lot more than Mark Coyle to figure out what they can do to become competitive. And it's hard to watch it sometimes. You go, where are the Gophers in all this? When are they going to have their time? And it never seems to happen. It's just been a long drought.
Yeah, it's been a very long drought.
Richard Pitino, I know, was on with Barrero yesterday. I missed the conversation. I saw clips of it, but he knows better than anyone what's the score here.
Nico Medved is the name that keeps circulating, but then I think I saw a headline. I didn't read the story yet because I think it just appeared during the Grom. I think it might have been Fish Wrap West Side that Colorado State will do everything they can to keep Medved there. And he's under a contract through like 2030 or
They all are.
So.
But they can pay him off.
Yeah, they can. They absolutely can do that.
And that doesn't solve, what's ailing the Gophers. It's nice to have a guy that's got more experience, certainly, than Ben did, but we had none. But, it takes a lot of heavy lifting with Nil right now and the transfer portal and just keeping players that you even have on your roster now and attracting ones that want to come here. How do you make Minnesota?
And to me, unless it's a name like, I'm talking about Rick Pitino, not Richard, but it's Pitino, it's Calipari or Izzo. I think a lot of, and maybe I'm not giving high school kids a lot of credit. How many high school kids, if you said name association, go Nico Medved, they would go, I don't know. So again, that doesn't mean that he isn't a good coach and can't recruit and doesn't know his X's and O's and this and that. But again, I just, I
remember the Gophers hired Tubby Smith. That was a huge name.
Big name.
I mean, that was one to going, wait, the Gophers hired Tubby Smith? The road's going to be paved to, excellence after excellence. That was before Nil and the transfer portal, but still they couldn't really move the needle all that much. They had some good teams, but, they didn't really go very far.
You're getting nominated for preposterous statement.
What'd I say?
I don't have time to fill out a bracket. Larry Mandela guy says he just filled one out in 4 minutes.
So you have time. I just don't have the interest. I just kick back and, I don't have to, I'll watch the games.
One last thing on the Rodgers. Here's a comparison on signing Rodgers.
Okay.
Mark, I just secured funding to afford all my projects to improve my home and yard. Should I trust a 21-year-old who's just starting out or hire a seasoned vet who people say is the best of the best? Because we've put all the pieces in place.
He's not the best of the best.
4-time MVP.
Okay, that's in the past.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Great.
See you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
I guess so.
The legendary
tomorrow, Thursday.
Yes, the legendary one. Max, thanks for having me.
Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, I'll be back again tomorrow, as will you, at 12 noon. Big Ticket, Brett Blakemore there next year on The Fan.
Good night, folks, and good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Ever wake up feeling lousy, knowing something is off with your body? You don't have time for guesswork. You need Viome. Forget all the generic health fads. Viome doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what's actually going on inside your body. By analyzing your gut microbiome, Viome delivers a custom health plan that's as unique as your DNA. It's science, not nonsense. Want energy? Want better digestion? Viome has your back. Stop trusting amateurs. Go to Viome.com for a personalized gut professional now. Call StarStar Gut to get $110 off any test. That's StarStar 488 to receive a link to the offer.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include a lot more people than ourselves. Loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, we help plan your financial picture with the bigger picture in mind. Because even though our business is helping guide your finances, our ambition is to make it mean so much more. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.